Imagine what it is like on the ground for these ICE agents. You have half the politicians in America calling you Nazis and Gestapo and all the rest of it. You have people throwing things at you. They've literally lit garbage cans in the middle of the street, lit them on fire. There's mattresses out there. You have people screaming the worst things. There's just chaos everywhere.
But they're spitting on these guys. They're throwing cinder blocks on their car. They're calling them Nazis. They've got bounties on their head. They're doxing their families. And you're right. At this situation, they're not sleeping. They're attacking them. And you're being hunted. You're seeing videos where people are saying fill syringes with poison. I think the guy just straight up snapped.
Then reaching behind him is he getting the gun? Did he hear that the other guy had taken it? This is all happening in a split second, and we're sitting here analyzing it in slow motion that's not the reality.
I'm sure he's not happy that he had to do that.
Of course
His life is not better. I don't know what people are thinking, like some sort of sadist, he can't wait to shoot somebody. No, the officer's life is ruined. It's beyond tragic. So.
Oh, we got a packed house today, people. That's right. 4 humans in boxes. Sage Steele, Jillian Michaels, Dr. Drew, Dave Rubin. We're all here. We have various electronic equipment connected to our heads, and I sense it's going to be a barn burner of a show. We got about 45 minutes today due to, I got a thing. Very impressive right now.
You got a thing. You got a guy.
I got a thing.
I got a thing. I got to take care of.
Dave,
he's stepping out on us. I saw one with Tatum and Sosnick. I was like, wow.
You're getting jealous.
I see how it is, Dave. Yeah.
No.
Just saying.
No. Those are just people in boxes. You guys are actual friends, and this is our weekly therapy session. So let's just dive right in because, obviously everything right now, at least in an American perspective, from what's happening in the country is related to Minnesota. It started with the fraud stuff. Now it's leaked into the anti-ICE protests. There's been 2 shootings. The rhetoric is crazy, everything else. But I thought we could maybe take a different tack at it rather than the political side, maybe a little bit more on the psychological and emotional side, because there are hundreds, if not thousands, and maybe even tens of thousands of videos, mostly on TikTok, where generally young people and generally women are expressing rather radicalized views. So I want to show you just one of those, and then I thought we could...
I thought of something good. I think it's something weird spot. Sabotage tactic, or at least scare tactic. All the medical providers, grab some syringes with needles on the end. Have them full of saline or succinylcholine, whatever. That will probably be a deterrent. Be safe. Okay, for today's resistance tip, I vote, anybody got any, poison ivy, poison oak in their yard? Get some of that up with gloves, obviously. Get it in some water, like a gallon of water. Get the poison ivy oak water, and I'm gonna put it into a water gun. Aim for faces.
Okay, so it's quite difficult to watch. She is, or I should say, was a nurse at Virginia Commonwealth Hospital. The hospital saw that. They released a statement. I'll read it very quickly. We prioritize the health and safety of anyone who comes to us for care. We are aware of a series of videos that appear to have been posted by an individual confirmed to be an employee of our health system. The content of the videos is highly inappropriate and does not reflect the integrity or values of our health system. VCU police are assisting with the investigation per policy. While the investigation is underway, the individual is on administrative leave and will not be in our facilities or interacting with patients. So I don't even think we have to waste too much time mentioning her name or even making it specifically personal about her, but there are thousands of these. And this one, having come from a nurse who is telling you how to violently hurt or kill ICE agents, Drew, I have a feeling you'll have a lot on this one.
Oh my God, it's mind-boggling to me. The bioethical deterioration of my profession and my professional colleagues in all the paraprofessional positions is just stunning to me. I'm seeing physicians refuse to take care of people who have MAGA. I've harkened back to my residency. Yeah. There was a horrible gang action in a neighborhood near where my emergency room was, where I was working. And these scumbags came in after having killed a bunch of cops and killed innocent people standing by. and they'd gotten shot. And I thought, I would love not to treat this guy. I would love to fill a syringe with succinylcholine, but I had to do my job. My job is to attend to the guy the best of my abilities, period, end of story. That's the bioethical standing of what we're supposed to be doing here. I'm very concerned about that. Then the brainwashing where people, including AGs and things, are advocating for violence. This is mind-boggling. They are brainwashed.
Also in Virginia, by the way.
They're brainwashed, and we need people behave like patients. We have to treat them like patients.
Sage, one of the things that I've been saying on my show is that it's like we can all, make fun of and mock all of the kind of general social media craziness and fight each way. But at some point when the hysteria takes over, so you have nurses saying things like this, every single person who goes to a doctor is going to have to think about what their political opinions are and do people know it and everything else. Like, to me, it's such a fundamental breakdown in the system. If you wore a MAGA hat and the nurse knew, or if you were a Zionist, or if you were black or white or what, it doesn't even matter. That the system only operates when we all trust that the system has some basic parameters around it.
Well, the word you just used
I'm sorry, Sage. I apologize.
No, it's okay. Real quick.
You
but
go.
Dave,
He asked you.
The word you
Sage
just
will be
used
playing
there.
Sage today. You're Jillian.
Got it.
Drew, how many times have I brought up the trust word to you, Drew, since we met? And how there's already a lack of trust in the medical profession more than ever before, since 2020, ever since COVID, which also brings me back to that time where you saw doctors and nurses and people on social media saying, I'm not going to treat you if you don't have this vaccine, right? And then you had comedians like Jimmy Kimmel on TV and jokingly saying, let him die. Don't treat him at all. So I feel like we never thought we would get back to that. I mean, that was at least medical related, right? This is completely different. And now people in the medical community are glomming on to, and I can't say people because I believe that this is a huge minority of medical providers, right? We cannot lump everybody into one basket. That's not fair. However, because of social media, we are seeing more and more. And you're damn right. If I walk in and see that young woman, like, of course, I'm not going to go there to VCU Hospital. But at the end of the day, I am concerned. We were at a hospital the other day and for something else, everything's okay. But I mean, I walked in and I immediately thought, this guy hates me because maybe he sees me on social media. And I was immediately going, I don't know if this is where we should be. It's something that we should never even have to think of, but it is real. And so this is why there is such an importance on the staff at VCU to put her on administrative leave, to go through an investigation, and then hold people accountable. They were not held accountable 5 years ago during COVID. We must do that now.
You know what's crazy? You guys know I had a colonoscopy, my first one a couple of weeks ago, and I have never once walked into a doctor's office and thought anything about my political opinions or being a public person or something. But I just randomly picked this doctor. He was just on my health insurance plan, so he wasn't recommended to me by anyone or anything else. And when I went to him once before, for the initial consultation, and it was the first time when he asked me what I do for a living that I was like, oh, is that weird if I tell him or if he doesn't like me or whatever? I mean, I know what's going to happen now. Like, it's going to be a little weird. Jillian, go ahead.
Well, funny, because remember when you were going in for that colonoscopy, I was like, this is the only test that I have managed to circumvent in other ways. There's like Cologuard and now like a new test that they can do. And it's I know, Doc, but unfortunately, I refuse to go to doctors I don't know anymore. After Charlie passed away, when we were seeing nurses and doctors on social media saying he deserved to die, when we were all getting death threats regularly, including my family, and we still get them. We've just blocked all comments and like blocked keywords to shut it down. It's something that has been on my mind constantly. And this isn't actually medical, but I booked my kids on a flight on Delta Airlines. And one is 13, so he's unaccompanied minor, and one's 15, so she's not. So long story, they had like mechanical issues. They separated the kids on 2 different flights that are 9 hours apart. And then they're telling me my son needs to spend the night in Salt Lake in an office, right? So this is all going down, and I'm looking at flights. that are available. And this woman at Delta's lying to my face, right? So I'm like, you're lying to me. Like, I can see that the kids can both go on the same exact flight. She then called, I kid you not, called security on me. And I'm just thinking, there's no universe that this has anything to do. I'm like, you called security. And of course, the security guard came over and he's like, I'm sorry. I don't know why this is happening. And I'm like, dude, it was and there's no universe that happened because she didn't know who I was and wanted to make life hell for me and my kids. And it's gone all the way to Delta. It's so insane.
I'm just saying how
there's
crazy
no
it is.
universe that's
you don't
normal.
know where the attacks are coming from anymore. Maybe it's Tucker's people. Maybe it's Global Homo. Maybe where's it coming from? It's coming from all angles.
Right. That's an interesting point, Drew, because for the most part, I think there's generally more of, and there's research on this, that there is more of sort of a hysterical nature to the liberal female mind.
For sure.
Also, in terms of nursing, they generally happen to be liberal females. But you're right, now politics has gone wacky both ways. So to me, the question, and Drew, maybe you have some insight into this, is how seriously do you think I guess most medical professionals take the Hippocratic Oath, take all of the oaths that they have to swear to at this point, or is the younger generation just like, doesn't matter?
It's much more a job to them, much more. I've seen it. I've seen the erosion. It started with the firing of Aaron Cariotti, who was the head of bioethics at a medical school, and said, hey, I'm teaching you guys, you have to stand up when the going gets tough. I'm standing up and telling you, you don't have the bioethical standing for a mandate for this vaccine right now. Immediately fired. And bioethics went sideways during the pandemic, as Sage pointed out. But the really bigger problem is, and I think my generation was actually too invested. We thought it was such an important job. Now it's just a job. And that's a problem.
Bioethics, makes sense. And ethics are something that it seems like a lot of people have thrown by the wayside. But is this a discussion in the medical community? Are you and other professionals, Drew, talking about this?
No, not really.
No.
I don't see it. No.
That says something too. That's quite telling.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about skeletal muscle and how important it is to maintain muscle mass. As you age, that is the number one risk for complications of aging. Inadequate protein intake, especially the type that supports connective tissue, is an issue. Collagen, critical for joints and mobility. People tend not to get enough of it from diet alone. Standard protein powders often miss the mark. Native Path created a concise educational guide called 7 Reasons Everyone Should Be Taking This Protein. Explains why collagen is important, why absorption and quality are important as well, and how to avoid low-quality products. If you want to be proactive about your health and maintain strength as you age, maintain your muscle mass, do some resistance training, take some, Jillian, who am I talking to here? And Julie's like, all right, this is training. And get some protein and get some collagen protein. You can visit right now. GetNativePath.com/friends for a special bundle deal at a fraction of retail price, backed by a risk-free 365-day guarantee. Again, that is GetNativePath.com/friends.
It probably also depends on the discipline, right, Drew? Because I would imagine if you were to discuss this type of thing with a bunch of psychiatrists, they're probably way more left-leaning. You might get more heart surgeons that maybe are a little more on the right, and there is a political component to this.
That's right. You end up with 2 movies on one screen, as Scott Adams would say. And to me right now, I think I don't know. I don't want to get too crazy about this, but I'm very concerned with how people are communicating with each other, where language itself is being, people are attempting to control words and control language. And it's a terrible impulse, terrible. And I'm very worried about it. I don't know where we go with this. It's not good.
Let me throw to one other video real quick, because I don't want to imply that this is just a female problem. It obviously isn't. This video may be even more crazy. This is from a guy by the name of Elliot Forhan, who's a Democrat candidate for Ohio Attorney General. Listen to this.
Hi, this is Elliot Forhan, candidate for Ohio Attorney General. I want to tell you what I mean when I say that I am going to kill Donald Trump. I mean, I'm going to obtain a conviction rendered by a jury of his peers at a standard of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, based on evidence presented at a trial conducted in accordance with the requirements of due process, resulting in a sentence duly executed of capital punishment. That is what I mean when I say that I'm going to kill Donald Trump.
Jillian, this guy wants to be Attorney General of Ohio. That is the head lawmaker, the head legal guy of Ohio. There is something so profoundly Machiavellian and sadistic about that, and yet he thought he was doing that was a good idea.
Yeah, but remember Jay Jones? I was just talking to Nick Freitas, and he knows Jay Jones, and he was saying, he's like, Jill, he goes, of the 49 people that I was working with and passing legislation with, he would have been the 46th one that I would have thought said that. He said he knows those children that he said he wished would die in their mother's arms. He goes, this would have been unthinkable to me. I never could have imagined this. The death of someone's kids that it just, I don't know, guys, this has been on my mind. I have voiced it. It's not just medical. It's everything. I see it everywhere. And this is a bit off piece, but have you seen this clip of a Black teacher who is screaming in the best possible way, hear me out, at her students because they were bullying a kid who was wearing a MAGA hat? And it turns out this may not be a real clip. It had gone incredibly viral, and I was so moved by it, and all the comments were moved by it. And now I'm hearing it may be staged. It might be fake.
Do you understand how it feels to get bullied? Do you understand? There's people out here in this world really getting bullied, and they killing themselves because of this type of stuff. You need to be ashamed. All y'all need to go home and think about this. Matter of fact, I want y'all to all come in with papers, 10 pages on bullying, because I'm not going to stand for that.
But I had to stop and think, what about this moved so many people? And it was the fact that a Black female teacher was defending a white male student wearing a MAGA hat. And we're just so desperate to see the humanity in each other, and we're not. I know I can. Like, this guy alarms me. That woman alarms me. These people alarm me. But if they were in a car accident on the side of the road, like, I would do anything I can. I don't understand. I don't understand what they're seeing, but it's incredibly effective, and it's everywhere.
And it's the way they say it too. Like, that clip, if you're watching him and listening, he's breathing heavily. He's breathing, like there is something. And for me, if you believe in good, you got to believe in evil too. And I believe there is a lot of evil and darkness just racing throughout our country. But those people in the clips, and Dave, the clip that you sent in the group chat earlier today, I mean, there is, Drew, is that, what am I interpreting about that with the heavy breathing and the intensity? The anger.
His excitement feels sadistic, right? Like, I can't wait to kill this guy. And the intensity of his feelings is it's wildly, people are not of their right mind. I am at the point now where I'm just like, I don't know what to make of all this. This is, I pulled up Lincoln's second inaugural because there was something he said in that where he was just saying that, one side did not want these things and the other side brought it. And that's kind of what I feel like somehow that's ringing in my head right now. I'll read it out loud if I can find it. But it's I don't want any of this. I don't want any of it. This is insane. And I don't, and to me, it all feels like TDS, like Trump derangement that fractured them. And I was listening to somebody lecture today about the impact of social media and the way AI is forming our opinions. It's clear that if you spend a lot of time on TikTok, you're going to be radicalized one way or the other, both directions.
Well, look, if you were to take, a lot of these young people that, let's say they're somewhere in their 20s. So let's say 25 years old. Donald Trump came down that escalator, now it's 11 years ago, basically. So you've had a decade of just relentlessly hearing white supremacy and Nazi and all the horrible things they say about Trump. Then if you're 25, you also lost some of your college years and or high school years, and maybe didn't go to your prom because of COVID, and maybe didn't get to go to your grandmother's funeral, or all of the things that we can all figure out. So some of your social stuff got changed. You probably aren't dating the way any of us would have dated back then at that age or anything else because of the apps. Then there's the algorithmic stuff that you just mentioned, Drew. So in some sense, they're now 25 and they've been subjected to a world that kind of abused them, and they don't know how to emote properly. Thus, someone can be like, yes, I want to be the attorney general and also want to kill Donald Trump, and here's why, without any sense of shame or something.
No. It's beyond shame. He thinks he's a hero. And it's not just Zoomers. Unfortunately, Preddy and Renee Good were 37.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're middle-aged just about. And I was listening to something the other day, and I actually wanted to cover it this Friday on my podcast, the parallels of these millennials thinking that they're reliving World War II. They really are like Nazis, Underground Railroad.
Hey, Jill.
Like they truly,
Jill,
it's some sort of.
Yeah, when I was in college and medical school, and even in my practicing years of staying in the psychiatric hospital over the years, the only people that mentioned Nazis were actively psychotic. There was a psychosis. They started preoccupied about Nazis, and Nazis were coming, and it was part of a psychotic illness. This is not different. It's a mass psychosis. I'm telling you, this mass formation thing, the mob action is just, I don't know if it's because of social media or because of the narcissism or Trump derangement or whatever it is, but I'll tell you what, our mass formation it happened during COVID. It's happening again now. I want to read you the second inaugural, end of the second paragraph. Both parties deprecated war, but one of them would make war rather than let the nation survive, and the other would accept war rather than let it perish. And the war came.
I have chills.
I mean, that's quite literally what's happening on the streets of Minnesota right now without changing topics altogether. Trump made it very clear, like, he's willing to negotiate here. He released 4 bullet points on what it would take to get ICE out, and the Democrats are not going to give him an inch on any of that. So it is kind of the same stuff. All right, we should actually move on because we're a little abbreviated today. But first, guys, TWC Recharge. Did you know that most methylene blue being sold online is the same grade as used in fish tanks? Watch out for low-quality bottles that are untested for heavy metals and made overseas. You can trust the wellness company's Recharge, a doctor-formulated supplement combining powdered methylene blue with NAD plus MPQQ. This methylene blue is USP grade, ensuring top-tier purity for maximum safety and effectiveness. This is not the sketchy stuff you find on Amazon. Recharge is formulated with research-backed ingredients to optimize brain function and cellular repair while supporting clean, lasting energy. Tap into cognitive and metabolic support that helps you stay energized, focused, and resilient all day long. Choose a trusted formula made for your body, not for fish tanks. Feel the difference with enhanced mental clarity, sustained energy, sharper focus, and protection against cognitive decline. And no, it won't turn your tongue blue. Head on over to twc.health/friends and use code FRIENDS for 10% off. That's twc.health/friends and code FRIENDS for 10% off. I think I needed a little methylene blue at the end of that. Drew, take it away.
My friend Adam Carolla, I have so many, while we're preparing for the show today, so many feelings were flying around with me, including I've talking to him about some of the stuff he was doing just before we came in here. But he was talking, I think it was to, one of the Fox hosts.
It was Jesse Waters.
Jesse Waters. And he was calling out some of what's going on in Hollywood. Take a look, listen to this.
Hollywood should sit this one out. You idiots were just wrong with COVID like 10 minutes ago. Remember? For 4 years, they were wrong with COVID. For 4 years, they were wrong with Russiagate, Hunter Biden's laptop, Joe Biden's sharp, man, that guy could do a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. Remember all that? That was all out of you, Hollywood. So maybe you guys are wrong about stuff on occasion. Your batting average is horrible, so why don't you just shut up and sit one out?
No, they can't. They believe that you can raid the president's house, but you can't raid Jose's. And Jose isn't even an American citizen.
Yeah, and, Portman should know better because they should be insulted with all the Hitler talk and all the, these guys are brown shirts and all this Gestapo stuff. If you're Jewish, you should be highly offended comparing American law enforcement to Nazis.
Yeah, well, they said Anne Frank is the same thing as some criminal migrant wanted for battery, just hiding in the attic. I mean, it's insulting to pretty much everybody. Even the Holocaust Museum told Walls to knock it off.
Not only that, guys, but he and I were talking just about an hour ago, and he was saying, we were talking about this violence thing, the people advocating violence against Trump and everybody, ICE, and it really, really disturbed me. And he said, they had already built the case. If you believe that Hitler is in the White House and these people are Nazis, well, a hero would act out violently against these people. So again, this is the brainwashing. Congratulations, everybody. You've done it.
What would your moral duty be if you actually thought that Hitler and the Nazis were coming? What would your moral duty be? They've made it very clear. And that's why this was, in some sense, this is what woke me up politically 10 years ago when I was on the left, because they were calling everyone Nazis. And I was just like, this is just completely absurd. We can't be so right, and they're so evil. The math.
And Dave, I tell you what, Adam is making the other point I really liked in what he was saying there is we should be looking at people's track record. How was your record? And COVID was a great time to assess everyone's ability to navigate, be right, and let's look at their track record. They've been effing wrong. Could not be more wrong the entire way. So why not sit one out? Jillian's saying no.
Well, what I don't understand is why don't you just do a Google search? Like I remember the Golden Globes seeing the clip of Mark Ruffalo being like, "You can't just grab Maduro; it's illegal." And it's like, actually, if you did just a little bit of homework, we had indicted this guy, and there's a precedent set through Noriega, and it was actually an arrest. It wasn't really a military action. Like when you actually explore the legalities of it, he's illegitimate. It's not a sovereign nation we've invaded, but he just spews this shit. And he may as well be telling you that up is down. He's actually all wrong. But I didn't know what the truth was. So I went to Josh Hammer, who's a constitutional attorney. And I said, Josh, explain it all to me. Explain it to me domestically. Explain it to me with regard to international law. Give me all the nuance before I have even an opinion, let alone spew vitriol. And yet they do. It can't figure it out, guys.
There's something to be said about what happens to people when a microphone gets put in front of their mouth. Because, Sage, I'm sure you saw it, but the one that had me going off this morning on my show was Steve Kerr, another one of these guys who's ruined the NBA for me.
Ruined it.
And he gives a press conference, wildly anti-ICE, blah, 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 blah. But then he says, and they took the 5-year-old kid from his father, which is completely debunked. Completely debunked. The guy who was illegal abandoned the kid in the car. The ICE agents then took him for McDonald's. But it's like, man, even if you guys believe this political nonsense, and let's say Steve Kerr believed everything he was saying, you're still ruining the thing that we pay you for, the thing that you're supposed to love. Now less people love. I tweeted about it this morning. I got hundreds of responses of people saying they don't watch the NBA anymore because of this nonsense.
Well, the NBA has ruined itself, and it started when Donald Trump became president in 2016 the first time. Steve Kerr, and I loved him, and we had a good relationship, and now I'm just so sad, but he is a disciple of Greg Popovich, who, as you know, is the San Antonio Spurs coach. Despite his military background, Air Force Academy, he spewed hatred, and Steve came up under him, won a couple championships. Doc Rivers, who won the championship with the Celtics a couple of years. Like the NBA, the leadership of the NBA, I think there's no hope. That ship has sailed, and they lost themselves completely during COVID and then BLM and all of that stuff. So the NBA is disgusting to me. I think Steve Kerr should focus more on his record. I think they're 8th in the West right now. I'm checking. So just focus. Shut up and dribble, as Laura Ingraham got up in so much trouble for saying. But that's because you come in uneducated. But the way that you say it, the way that he says it, and he's so eloquent, and because of his background and losing his father when he was a kid, it's devastating.
Yeah.
And I understand. I always try. We talked about this, Drew, right? Okay. I might disagree with someone, and their opinion, et cetera. But like, it is based on their experience, right? So trying to have empathy for the why behind it, although when they are incorrect and spewing lies from a position of power, then that is my issue. The reason why he won't shut up is because everybody at the top of that part of the sports world probably agrees with him. And if they don't, then they don't have the balls to call him on it because he's a championship coach. And Hollywood, the reason why they continue is because what? They're not forced to be accountable. No one holds them accountable. Is Dr. Fauci, has he been held accountable? Nobody over the past, let's just say 7-8 years has been accountable for anything. Fauci even got out there and admitted that he made up the 6-foot rule. So like when there's zero accountability, and Hollywood, yeah, they were hurt for a little bit, but it seems like we're right back on. Deep down, they love this ICE stuff. Why? Because it gives them even more reason to just pile on the Trump administration, even though they've completely forgotten the why behind it. So that's my issue with it. And I'll shut up after this, but it's the way that they say it. And I don't know that deep down they fully believe it all. I think they're going for clicks. Just like the psycho that's running for AG in Ohio, they're going for clicks. The nurses, like, don't they realize now that this stuff is going to go viral and they could get fired? The answer is yes, which goes back to the beginning of this conversation about the psychosis and what has happened and what has taken over. Whether you have a platform and you're famous as an athlete, as a coach, as a Hollywood person, or a random nurse at VCU who's going viral. So to me, I think the scariest part of this is the depths to which, I mean, every part of our population has fallen, and this part. So if this is what they're proud enough and courageous enough to say out loud, what are they doing inside? And what effects are they having on our children, et cetera? Like, how do you even begin? This is like the homelessness problem, Drew. Like, how do you even begin to attack it and try not to condemn them, but to help them?
I can do it so easily, Sage. It's not hard. I did it for years and years and years. It's not hard. You have to just do it, and you have to create the environment to do it. But back to I want to clarify about the mass formation. Remember, mass formation is about 15 to 20% true believers. Everybody else just trying to keep their head down and stay out of just get on with their life. And about 10% of people going, hey, what's going on here? This is not good. That 10%, we need to expand it.
That's kind of what we're trying to do here. No, by the way, if you post something with some ideas and whatever, I mean, oh my gosh, the comments. Like, I hate that I don't read them anymore because I'd like to respond to the same ones, even if they don't agree. But it's just not worth it. It would be a full-time job. But like, all we can do is what we're doing, right? Is continue to speak up, have conversations, say yes to going on these other news platforms and talking about it. What else can we do?
Well, I think that the average person can vote with their dollars and their eyeballs.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. And that's why the NBA knows that a lot of people have tuned out. I mean, the thing is, had Steve Kerr, I don't know if he was asked the question about this or if he just brought it up in the press conference, but in some sense, it doesn't matter because it's like all he had to say was, I'm here to talk about basketball. Like, I'm a basketball coach. I won 5 championships as a player and 4 as a coach. That's 9 championships. You want to talk to me about that? That would be pretty good. I'll just real quick in 30 seconds, I'll tell you a story that, Sage, I know you'll love. So you know how much I love basketball. My favorite player is Clyde Drexler. And in 1992, during the Rodney King riots in LA, the Blazers were playing the Lakers, and there was all this media around how Jordan wasn't speaking up around the Rodney King thing, that he was just kind of apolitical and he just played basketball. And people were criticizing him for the very thing we'd be giving him credit for right now, right? Just playing ball and not getting involved. And I'm watching I watch these old games when I'm doing cardio. And I think it was Costas actually interviewing Clyde. And he's like, Clyde, Jordan's getting a lot of criticism for not talking about Rodney King. And you haven't said anything. And I was like, oh God, this is 30 years later. But I'm like, oh God, Clyde's going to say something horrible. My hero, please don't say something horrible about this. And Clyde goes, I'm a basketball player and I wake up every morning and I got to work out and I got to run and I got to train and I got to talk to my teammates and I got to study film to win the game. And I'm here to win a championship this year. And I hope that's enough for you. And I was like, hallelujah. I wasn't let down by somebody. And that's the other problem. It breaks kids' dreams. You think you're watching LeBron and then you watch all the flops and then you watch him pretend he's reading a book and he pretends this political opinion and it just ruins kids'
It's no different from Disney
people.
and what Disney provided so much joy to so many of us in our childhoods and our children, and then to insert themselves the way they have in kind of sick ways. It is heartbreaking because it almost ruins your memories potentially of Clyde Drexler. He's a good man.
Yeah, he's a good one.
There is another story. I'm gonna just skip over really quick. It was a video of Clinton getting a standing ovation for saying during a State of the Union, I think it was, cracking down on illegal hiring for bearing wealth. But he wants to buy welfare benefits to illegal aliens. There's all these footage.
All Americans, not only in the states most heavily affected, but in every place in this country, are rightly disturbed by the large numbers of illegal aliens entering our country. The jobs they hold might otherwise be held by citizens or legal immigrants. The public service they use impose burdens on our taxpayers. That's why our administration has moved aggressively to secure our borders more, by hiring a record number of new border guards, by deporting twice as many criminal aliens as ever before, by cracking down on illegal hiring, by barring welfare benefits to illegal aliens. In the budget I will present to you, we will try to do more to speed the deportation of illegal aliens who are arrested for crimes, to better identify illegal aliens in the workplace as recommended by the commission headed by former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan. We are a nation of immigrants, but we are also a nation of laws. It is wrong and ultimately self-defeating for a nation of immigrants to permit the kind of abuse of our immigration laws we have seen in recent years, and we must do more to stop it.
I suggest everyone look into it, both President Obama and President Clinton taking the position that the current White House is taking today. And in the case of, I think it was Clinton, deporting like 12 million people or something. So, but anyway, this is not new. This is not a new concept.
Trump's a moderate Democrat of 1996.
Right? Yeah, I love that all these clips are starting to come out, including the 30-minute piece that CNN did, the ride along when
yes!
during the Obama administration with ICE and the whole thing. Okay, I'm going to quickly get into mine, and Jillian, I want you to be the first to react to this. And basically, this comes down to the double standard there is. You'll understand what I'm saying. I'm going to do 2 clips before you comment. So first one, this is of the teacher in Chicago. This is in September, right after Charlie Kirk died. Take a look.
Hey, you ever heard of Ozempic, you fat ass?
Yeah, the teacher. And I know we all saw that one and how heartbreaking it is, among many other things, especially because this is a woman who influences and teaches children every single day. So that was in September, and that was fine. It was fine for all these people to do those kind of motions. And then take a look at this headline. Also Chicago, a teacher placed on leave after a Facebook post that supported ICE. And people went crazy. You heard a couple of us, I guess center to center right, obviously pointing out that first video and how, just how inhumane that is. It's sick. And then this, like the double standard, it seems like it's always been there for sure. But what do you think, Jill? Are we seeing an increase of it? Maybe it's just because of all the, depressing news stories that we have seen over the past even 6 months.
I have to admit, though, guys, there is a little bit of a double standard on the right as well. Like, I want to be fair. So, for example, Preddy shows up with a gun. First question out of my mouth is, did he have a license to carry? He did have a license to carry. Was it stupid to show up and be interfering with ICE? Because he was interfering. They knew who he was. He was a part of the signal chats. He was. Was he brandishing? No. Did he get violent? No. Do I think he should have been shot? Absolutely, I do not. However, you see the right, they're like, well, you shouldn't have showed up with that gun. I'm like, well, you kind of don't get it both ways. It's like Kyle Rittenhouse.
But you don't see people mocking him, pretending to be shooting.
No, you're right, Doc.
Right.
No,
that's
what
Doc.
I'm talking
you're
about.
Right. Is the reality.
But your point stands,
right.
Jillian. That's
I
totally legit.
want to be fair.
But your point is well taken.
I just want to be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, well taken.
Is that like we're very like the tribalism makes you lean into and want to validate certain
we
things.
can't do that. We can't do it. Stay objective.
Which is the only reason I pointed out, guys, is just so we can be like intellectually honest and maintain a little bit of a balance
with you.
here.
I got your back.
Having said that, though, like Sage, I see everything you're talking about. In particular, all of those clips, I actually knew the vast majority of the ways in which Clinton literally rewrote the law to get expedited removal in 1996 with a Republican Congress to remove millions of people and they never saw a courtroom. And then Obama expanded it to families. They separated kids. Those are his cages.
The cages,
Tom Homan worked for him and was rewarded. And now it's like Tom Homan is the devil incarnate. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the clip of
Wait, let me interrupt you
go ahead.
before you say that clip. I'm wondering, Dave, if this story that Jillian is sort of laying out so vividly for us is an opportunity to what is it to wake people up the way you were woken up by Larry Elders? You know, that the reality is so vivid that maybe it will sort of wake people up to their bias.
Anytime there is something that we're all watching like this, and then some of us can hopefully calmly explain it to people or show them something that they're thinking
Jillian,
that they can't quite.
That was a good explanation, I thought.
But you can't explain this stuff. You can't explain some of that behavior and the absolute callousness when there's a murder. Like, for the most part, and you guys tell me, maybe I've missed these clips, you don't see, and it's fascinating to me, you don't see people on the right doing stuff like that. Right. And that's where
the violent
part of
that's
the
mass
left
formation.
is what is.
That's the delusion. That's the psychosis. But Jillian, I interrupted you. I feel guilty.
Sorry,
you want to say about a clip?
No. Doc, it's all the same thing. I could walk you through all the hypocrisy, and I'll take it a step further, right? So you're like, actually, they deported more. They got due process. No, they didn't get due process under Obama and Clinton. In fact, they passed a law and expanded a law in order to deny people due process. Well, it was conducted differently. It was conducted differently because there was nobody telling people that ICE were Nazis.
Was evil.
And there was no such thing as sanctuary cities. Wake up. And still, you guys, they're like, no, Trump,
I know.
Nazi, ICE, Nazi. And it's, I don't know. We're so tribal. We're drowning in a sea of needing to be
right. But with people
refusing
to pay attention to the facts that you just laid out, because that makes all the difference in the world. It's just like 2 years ago almost, when President Trump was shot, and we were so shocked about it. Well, no, it's just like what Walz and Fry are doing in Minnesota. When you are encouraging violence and using that kind of terminology,
a hero would
Nazi,
do that. Only a hero would step up.
It's understandable if you're a little fragile mentally, that'll easily put you over the edge, and then you see what we're seeing.
I mean, there's a video we played on my show this morning of Tim Walz saying that he wants to punch J.D. Vance in the face.
I would beat the shit out of him now if I could, and I would call that out.
I mean, quite literally.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. And the lieutenant governor there telling people literally to lay their bodies on the line to fight ICE.
And I don't see it happening in the reverse. Interrupting everyone. I do not see it happening in the reverse. I do not. And by the way, if we did, CNN would be running that constantly on a loop. So I know it's not happening.
By the way, real quick, Jillian, the point that you made about the gun is completely right. I have made it repeatedly on the show this week because you're right. Some people are like, oh, well, you shouldn't show up with a gun and concealed carry. But it's like, well, wait a minute. If we're for the Second Amendment, which I am for, and I am for concealed carry, he has a right to do that. Now, once you're impeding a federal officer, as you pointed out, he was in the signal chats. He also got into it a week before with ICE agents, so they likely knew who he was. But think about it this way. We're all Second Amendment people. But now think about this. Imagine what it is like on the ground for these ICE agents. You have half the politicians in America calling you Nazis and Gestapo and all the rest of it. You have people throwing things at you. They've literally lit fire garbage cans in the middle of the street, lit them on fire. There's mattresses out there. You have people screaming the worst things. There's just chaos everywhere. And now, and I say this as a defender of the Second Amendment, now also add to the fact that some of those people might be armed. Like, just try to think of the overall tension. So when everyone's trying to whittle every video in like slow motion and, his arm moved this way and that's why this happened. It's like, that has nothing to do with nothing. The general state of chaos, and then how you would react to save your life or if, in this case, if you're an ICE agent, the life of your colleague. If we're going to second guess all that, then no one will take these jobs. And I guess it's good for Elon because the Optimus robot will take over by the end of next year.
Another robot opportunity.
Which would be better.
Which is probably where it's heading either way.
Think about that, though. Could you be out there? I've watched this go on for a year, and then I promise we'll move on. But they're spitting on these guys. They're throwing cinder blocks on their car. They're calling them Nazis. They've got bounties on their head. They're doxing their families. And you're right. At this situation, they're not sleeping. They're attacking them. And you're being hunted. You're seeing videos where people are saying fill syringes with poison. I think the guy just straight up snapped. I personally, I think he just freaking had a psychotic break, heard gun, has been under threat
and
for
remember,
a year.
He was then reaching behind him to, is he getting the gun? Did he hear that the other guy had taken it? This is all happening in a split second, and we're sitting here analyzing it in slow motion that's not the reality.
I'm sure he's not happy that he had to do that.
Of course
His life is not better. I don't know what people are thinking, like some sort of sadist, he can't wait to shoot somebody. No, the guy's, the officer's life is ruined. It's beyond tragic. So we have one more story, then we got to get Dave out of here.
Okay. Am I doing this?
Yeah, girl.
Is it me? Okay, so the one thing that we actually, sorry guys, I could talk to you for hours. The one thing that we haven't touched upon, we're trying to figure out why is this happening and what's going on with the brainwashing, and celebrities are telling people and athletes are telling people and politicians are telling people it's the Gestapo, fight for your life, lay your body on the line. But there is another component to this that we are aware of, but is not being spoken about enough. Take a look.
Here's the most important part of this whole thing, unreported, okay? There is a man in Shanghai, China, an American citizen. His name is Neville Roy Singham. He works with the Beijing government. He is funneling millions of dollars into the United States of America through 501s like Party for Socialism and Liberation, Democratic Socialists of America, Minnesota Immigration Rights Action Committee. There he is, okay? Connecticut-born, 71 years old, billionaire tech guy. He is funneling money here to these radical organizations who are then agitating professional people, communists mostly, because Singham's a communist, all right, to go in and foster rebellion. You heard that story reported? That is absolutely true. The man has been investigated by the FBI in the past, this Singham character, okay? This isn't some organic thing. This is a foreign power, Beijing, using this American citizen who lives openly in Shanghai in luxury, knowing that this man is funneling tens of millions, probably more, into this country to try to destroy the government. What the deuce is that? Where are you, New York Times? All right? That's the second part of the story. There's a local federal story, and there's the international story. And I've had it. You don't like what I'm saying? Blank you, because I'm telling you the truth.
This is
guys. Can I hit this for 20 seconds and then I'll jump?
Oh yes, hit it and we'll go.
I like me. I like to give credit where credit is due. New York Post has been covering this guy for at least 6 months. This is real and legit. And if you saw some of those logos that they showed right there, Code Pink and some of those other organizations, it's not organic. How do they all show? They know exactly where to show up, when to show up. We've now seen the signal chats, the placards that they're all holding that are exactly the same, the training of when they speak and when someone else speaks, and the repetitive stuff. It's all coordinated, and that's why Rico. I'm not talking about Rico Suave. I'm talking about how you take down the mafia. You don't take down the mafia because one guy killed somebody over a fight over a cannoli. You build a case for 10 years that picks apart everything. Think of every mafia movie you've ever seen. And I just hope that our Justice Department is on it. But I know you guys will be on it without me. Thank you, guys. I got a thing.
I think we can all go. I think we can wrap it up.
We'll wrap it up. There's no party without you, Dave.
Love
just
you.
Forget it. Did he just leave the screen? He just left the screen.
He just walked off on us.
That son of a...